Today we are here with my wife, Meow Meow. You are the director for pretty much all of our stuff, and you edit pretty much all of our stuff too. So we're gonna do a behind the scenes look at one of our recent events. We shoot mainly live events, and for most people you would think like, oh, there isn't really like much directing when it comes to live events, and for the most part that's true, right? Like for weddings, you're not really like directing actors, but I would say like there kind of is.
Yes, it's almost like editing on the spot. If I'm directing it, not shooting it. Our client is this membership program for families who have kids. They have all tons of fun activities for all the holidays, for most of the weekends, and they're heavily focused on kids' activities.
So all our videos that we edit, that Mama edits, is gonna go on Instagram. Basically Reels. So it's a vertical format, 9:16 format. And the way we shoot is we shoot horizontal and then we crop in for the vertical format.
Correct.
So framing on set is very important. Usually it's me on the main camera and then you have a B cam. And then when you're not shooting on the B cam, you can kind of see what I'm shooting and what are some thoughts that you have when you're going into like a live shoot?
There is little planning involved because it's a live event. But when I arrive on location, I would take a look at the big picture to see what kind of wide shots that we can get. Because for close-ups, it's relatively easier because you can just shoot it on the spot. But for wide shots, you need to take a look around and see what angle is the best, and you have to take lighting into consideration as well.
We forgot to mention, there's one little caveat to the stuff that we shoot, and that is we can't show any faces. So no faces of kids, no faces of like parents and families and stuff like that. That's part of the challenge, I guess, of shooting these live events. It's like, how do we shoot a live event of kids, of people, without shooting like their face? Talk to us about like what goes through in your mind when you're looking for shots on location and what you're looking for when you're editing in your head.
First off, wide shots. I would pick something as a foreground to kind of cover up people's faces. But sometimes if there's no foreground that you can use, then make sure that your shots are further enough that you only see blurry faces, if that makes sense. For example, if there's a DJ in the middle and everyone is kind of facing towards one direction, then you will go to the back and film their backs. Make sure that your camera's rolling the entire time, so when you're in the editing room, that you pick the moments they have motions, that they are moving their hands or they're dancing, and etc.
Through like body language then is really what we're looking for. Okay, so we use this monitor on set. This is the FeelWorld T10. This is a 10-inch monitor.
I like it. I love big monitors because as the director, you really need to see every detail in the shots, and you are responsible to check for everything basically. Because it's just the two of us. We don't have any scripty or production designer, so I do a lot of the staging if we're filming food, cocktails, and still stuff.
Now, when it comes to like usability of the monitor, what did you think?
I like this. This is very lightweight. It doesn't overheat, and it's big enough for me to see everything. Most of our stuff is in sunny condition. It's bright enough, the color is very accurate, and I love that it comes with the hood. It's really helpful in the sun.
I saw like a lot of times you were kind of like, you kind of had your face inside the sun hood.
Or I have to take off my jacket and put it over the monitor.
Yeah. If you don't have a sun hood, that's what you would do, yeah.
Yes, because I like monitors that it's just a monitor instead of a monitor and then recorder. Because for director's monitor, I'm holding it for like a long period of time and constantly moving with it. And sometimes I can't hold it, I need to put it down when I need to stage stuff. So lightweight is very important for me personally.
For directors, is something like this important on set?
Yes, I believe all directors deserve their own monitors. It's very important that you are checking everything in the frame. Because some people, they don't check their monitor, they're always around actors. If I didn't have my own monitor, I would be using yours. It would be so crowded. Sometimes if you have camera movement, then I can't really be near your side. In that case, I'm just observing the movements with my eyes instead of checking what's actually showing in the monitor, which is what the audience would be viewing in the final stage. Having my own monitor helps me stay focused in what's in the frame. I can give real-time direction while you're shooting. For example, I can just tell you to pan left, tilt up, adding more movements by observing it on the monitor instead of having you to do playbacks for me all the time. It's way more efficient this way. I think I made a mistake staging one of the food shot because I didn't see it in the monitor. I was just staging the food with my eyes and they look fine, but in the shots, they look too scattered. They don't look nice. So that would be one example that I would definitely use a monitor for future shoots.
That was funny because like that was like the only like scene we didn't have the monitor available. We just had it off to the side. We just didn't think we needed it, I guess. Having the monitor there 24/7 is pretty much gonna be how we operate from now on, I think.
We don't have a second AC. We're using autofocus. So sometimes he does not notice if something is in focus. So that responsibility falls on my shoulder.
Especially when the objects are like very close to each other, but like, you know, not, you know, it's like not on the same focus plane. And it just automatically focuses on like the further one when we're trying to shoot the nearer one. Does a monitor like this help you get the type of shots that you want?
Yes, with the monitor, I can easily check if I have enough wide shots for editing.
When you're looking at the monitor and you see the shot that I got, you're mentally like checking it off. You're like, okay, we got the shot of the kids running around. Okay, now let's move into a close-up.
Also for close-up, I'm able to see the details of, let's say, a cocktail's garnish, or like a shot you dip the chicken fingers in the ketchup.
If you don't have it blown up and you're just looking at it on a smaller LCD screen on the camera, you're not able to kind of visualize like how it's gonna look on the phone because it's the LCD screen is so small. So with a monitor like this, like look at how big the monitor is compared, like see that? It's exactly the same length as like your phone. So like if you have the guidelines on the monitor, you're able to accurately tell like, oh, what's gonna be shown exactly inside of the phone. So if you're like, oh, if we shoot a close-up and it's way too close and it takes up the whole frame, then it's like, it's not a good shot.
I remember the first time we filmed this type of events, the wide shots aren't wide enough because we are viewing it from the LCD screen and it looks wide enough, but once you put it on the phone, it's too close that you would see the details of people's faces. You would recognize who they are. So that was a problem for us. There's a trick that it might sound simple, but it took me a while to realize this is how you maximize the amount of coverage that you could have. When you do wide shots, make sure you're not just staying in one location or just move left or right a little bit. Let's say you can go up the stairs or you can go super low. You put the camera on the floor. Make sure you have different perspective instead of just angles, if that makes sense.
I still do that a lot, which is one of the things that you told me not to do, is that I just stand there in one corner basically of the room and just kind of like go like this.
If I use this, let's say in the beginning of the video, I can't reuse it in the middle because for the audience, they're too similar. They cannot tell that they're two different shots. There's a rule that every time you change angle, you have to do it more than 45 degrees. For live events like this, I don't think changing angles is enough. You really need to move to a different location. Let's say the first wide shot you get is the front of the room. The second shot you will get is through some different foreground at the back of the room.
That way the edit feels like it flows way better. And it doesn't look like we're just jumping around through different shots because they look different. Who do you think this monitor is ultimately for?
I think this one's definitely for a director. I can totally see script supervisors using it, production designers, because if they want to check to see what's in the frame or what they would need to add, then this would be good for them as well.
Gear is something that you usually don't let me buy. For good reason, you know, for good reason. We don't need to be spending money on stuff that we don't actually
we don't need every gear that's on the market right now.
The new lenses, new camera.
Yeah, we need stuff that will work, that will make sense as a business instead of a hobby.
So with that in mind, for the amount of features and accessories that you get with the monitor, which is the sun hood and this little kickstand, HDMI cables and stuff like that, this is 200 bucks. Would you feel comfortable getting a monitor like this for 200 bucks?
I think so. Yeah, I would pay $200 for this.
Is it useful enough to justify the 200 bucks?
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. All right, a couple last thoughts about this monitor here. I do all the rigging for this monitor. My wife does all the viewing on the monitor. So for her, it's a little bit of a different perspective when it comes to this monitor, especially when it comes to rigging it up for ease of use, portability. First thing I want to mention is that while I do think this kickstand is sort of useful, the fact that it only comes with a single 1/4 inch mount on the top, side, and bottom is a little bit problematic because yes, you're able to mount it onto the kickstand and you're able to tilt it like this and have it, view it in a couple of different angles. But the more you do it, the faster this thing comes loose. See it? It already came loose. It came loose already by itself because yeah, that happens a lot because it's only a single screw on the sides. And it's not very secure that way. It just doesn't secure itself to the monitor. It's easily able to come loose by itself, as you just saw me do. That was kind of scary, not gonna lie. This little kickstand here does have these 1/4 inch mounting points right here that you can put onto like a light stand or something like that has like a 1/4 inch thread, so you can poke through and screw it on. But because it's such a small amount of like contact point, it's not gonna be like the most secure way of mounting this onto a stand. This monitor does have the VESA 75mm mounting points on the back. You will put like a mount on the back and then it will go on a C-stand. That way you have a lot more like connection to the actual stand itself, and it's not just like a flimsy little bit of threading that you're putting the monitor on. However, it's a little bit of a hassle to find the right VESA mount. The battery plate is very close to the mounting points. So when you have your plate on here, especially with the ones with like the knuckles, the securing knuckles on the side like that, it actually will jam this part up. It'll also jam this part up as well because there's just not enough space to put everything on the back of the monitor. So I wish the back part of this monitor was a bit bigger, like maybe like a couple, like an inch or 1/2 inch on the sides like this would spread out everything a little bit better and give it a lot more like breathing room so that I can mount everything on the back all at once. I really also want these manufacturers to come out with their own cage. That way it makes rigging up the monitor a lot easier. Like I can put handles onto the side via NATO rail or like a 3/8 mount or even with something with like an RE locating pin. That would be a lot better. But this is something I've already talked to FeelWorld about, and they are probably gonna make something like a cage for their T10 monitor or their other monitors as well. Okay, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the behind the scenes look, especially with my wife coming on. Thank you to her, shout out to her for coming on and breaking down her process. If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe, it helps out this channel a lot. But until the next one, my name is Alex Chung and I'll see you later. Bye.